So, many of us are kind of taught that getting ahead financially, it really comes down to complex math or like being super smart.
Right. All about the numbers, the algorithms.
Exactly. Spreadsheets and calculations. But what if it's actually way simpler than that? And much more about you.
Yeah. Your mindset, maybe?
Precisely. Today, we're doing a deep dive into Morgan Housel's brilliant book, The Psychology of Money. We've gone through excerpts, a full summary, even the detailed notes you sent in.
Yeah, lots of great material there.
Our mission is to really unpack the core truths, the actionable stuff.
Cut through the usual noise.
Because the central idea here, it's pretty game-changing. Financial success isn't really about what you know. It's about how you act, how you behave. It's, more psychology than complex finance theory.
Okay.
So, get ready. We're going to dig into some, genuinely surprising facts and takeaways, stuff to help you navigate money with hopefully more confidence and clarity.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, let's unpack this. Housel's basic argument, his fundamental point, is that the way we think, the way we feel, and, crucially, how we act with our money, that shapes our outcomes way more than technical skills or, sheer intelligence.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because it immediately shifts the focus. It's not about mastering formulas anymore.
No.
It's about understanding human nature, our own messy human nature. And it really highlights that everyone's relationship with money, it's unique, it's personal.
Definitely shaped by things we don't even realize sometimes.
Right. And that changes how we might look at other people's choices too, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Which brings us right to the first big insight. Understanding why we all see money so differently. Housel calls it, no one's crazy. And it makes so much sense. Think about someone who, say, grew up during runaway inflation.
Okay.
Their view of risk, of saving, of debt, it's going to be completely different from someone who's only ever known stable prices.
Totally different life experience. Their normal is just not the same.
Exactly. Those experiences, they bake themselves into how we see the financial world.
That's such a critical point. We're all walking around with these, hidden financial biases based on our past.
Often without even knowing it.
Which is why judging someone else's money decision is, often pretty pointless. You don't have their history, their context.
Yeah, you really need empathy there. And speaking of things we maybe don't fully appreciate, that connects to the whole idea of luck and risk.
Mm-hmm. Big factors.
Yeah.
Often invisible ones.
Right. Because success, it's never just about grinding harder. Luck plays a huge role, often a really significant one.
And the flip side, too, failure isn't always your fault.
Exactly. You can make all the right moves and still run into bad luck. Housel uses that specific example of Bill Gates.
Oh, yeah, the computer access.
He was just incredibly lucky to go to one of the only high schools in the whole world that had a computer back then.
Crazy timing, really.
Without that specific bit of luck, that access, would he have become the Bill Gates? It makes you really question how much of anyone's success story is just, pure chance versus pure skill.
And this raises a really important question for you, the listener.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you understand these background influences, the luck, the personal history, how does that change how you approach your own decisions?
Good question.
It means you probably shouldn't just blindly copy what some successful person did.
Right, because their luck might not be repeatable for you.
Exactly. Their context is theirs alone. So instead of just mimicking, you need to understand the principles behind their success or failure and see how they apply to your unique life.
Being authentic to your own situation.
Yeah. Which leads nicely into another idea about what's actually good enough when making financial choices.
Ah, you mean reasonable, rational. This one's fascinating.
It really is.
The idea is that your financial decisions, they don't have to be perfectly mathematically optimal. They just need to be reasonable for you.
Reasonable in your context.
Exactly. Like paying off a low-interest mortgage early. Mathematically, maybe you could earn more by investing that money instead.
Right. The spreadsheet says invest.
But if paying off that debt brings you, deep peace of mind, reduces your stress significantly.
That has value. Huge value.
Isn't that a kind of return on investment, too? A psychological return?
It's so liberating, that idea.
Yeah.
Because finance pushes this cold rationality all the time.
Always.
But it often ignores the human element, the emotional cost or benefit. Housel isn't saying be reckless.
No, not at all.
He's saying Acknowledge that psychological dividend. If a choice helps you sleep better at night, that's a valid, valuable return, even if it doesn't show up on a statement. It's optimizing for your life, not just the numbers.
Okay, so once we start understanding our own kind of unique financial wiring and what feels reasonable to us, we can then look at what wealth actually means.
Yeah, challenge the usual definitions.
And this brings us straight to the danger of never enough. Greed. It's a classic story, right? It can absolutely destroy even massive fortunes.
We've seen it happen time and again.
The key, Housel says, is knowing when to stop moving the goalposts, knowing what's enough.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Because comparison is the enemy of happiness. That's a powerful line. If you're always looking at what others have, always needing more just to keep up.
You'll never feel satisfied. It's a treadmill.
Exactly. Enough means realizing you actually have what you need for a good life, instead of just chasing the next thing someone else has.
That concept of enough feels almost radical today, doesn't it? In our hyper-consumer culture.
It really does.
It forces you to ask, okay, what does enough actually buy you? What's the real point of wealth if it's not just endless buying?
Well, according to Housel, the ultimate point is freedom. This is huge.
Control.
Yes. The highest form of wealth isn't a number in an account. It's the ability to wake up and say, I can do what I want today.
Control over your time.
Exactly. Doing what you want, when you want, with who you want. That time freedom, often it's worth way more than a bigger paycheck.
So money's real value is buying you autonomy. Option.
Precisely. Control over your choices, over your time, not just accumulating more stuff.
Which ties into that other great point he makes.
The man in the car paradox. And wealth is what you don't see. Yeah, these are great.
Explain the paradox.
Okay, so you see someone driving a really flashy, expensive car. What do you usually think?
Wow, nice car.
Right. You admire the car. You rarely think, wow, that driver must be so cool and successful. You're focused on the object, not the person displaying it.
Huh? That's true, actually.
But we buy the fancy car often thinking it will make others admire us. It's a disconnect.
So we're signaling something that other people aren't really receiving, or at least not in the way we intend.
Exactly. And conversely, true wealth, Housel argues, is often invisible. It's the money you didn't spend. The savings, the investments working quietly in the background.
The assets that give you that freedom we just talked about.
Yes. He has that killer line. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money.
Ouch. But true.
And another one. Wealth is the nice cars not purchased, the diamonds not bought, the watches not worn. It just flips the whole script on status symbols.
It really does. It challenges that whole consumerist drive. Aim to be rich, quietly, not just look rich, noisily.
Right. Focus on accumulation, not just display.
And that quiet accumulation, well, that's where the real magic starts to happen over time, isn't it? Thinking about compounding.
Perfect transition. So we've kind of redefined wealth. Now, how do you actually build it? And just as importantly, how do you keep it?
The practical stuff.
Yeah, the foundations. Let's start with confounding compounding. We all sort of know about compound interest.
Learned it in school, maybe.
But really getting its power, internalizing it, that's different. It's not just earning returns. It's earning returns on your returns, year after year after year.
Exponential growth. It starts slow.
Deceptively slow, and then it just takes off. Think Warren Buffett. His genius wasn't just picking good stocks.
No, a huge part was his time frame.
He started investing incredibly early, like as a kid, and he stayed invested for decades. That enormous time horizon allowed compounding to work its wonders.
So it's less about timing the market perfectly.
And much more about time in the market. Patience is the secret ingredient.
And that requires a certain mindset, doesn't it? Which ties into the difference Housel highlights between getting wealthy versus staying wealthy.
Yes, such an important distinction. Getting rich, initially, often means taking some smart risks. Being optimistic, maybe a bit aggressive.
Putting capital to work, seeking growth.
But staying rich, that requires a totally different skill set. It demands humility, caution, frugality even.
The focus shifts, right, from pure growth to survival. Protecting what you've built becomes paramount.
It's a defensive game as much as an offensive one. You have to avoid catastrophic mistakes.
Because the world can always throw curveballs at you. You need that resilience. And that resilience also connects to another, maybe counterintuitive idea. Tails, you win.
This one is really interesting. Tails, you win. So imagine you make, say, 10 different investments.
Yeah.
Housel argues that it's very likely that most of your overall gains will come from just one or two of those. The tail events. the big winners.
While the rest might just, break even or maybe even lose a bit.
Exactly. So investing success isn't necessarily about having a high batting average, being right most of the time.
No, it's more about making sure you benefit massively when you are right, even if that's infrequent.
It means you have to be okay with most things not being home runs. You just need a few things to work out really well over the long run.
Which implies, for you, the listener, that maybe diversification and just staying invested are key.
Yeah.
You need to be exposed to those potential tail winners.
Right. Don't try to pick only winners. Just make sure you're in the game for the long haul.
And the most fundamental way to ensure you can stay in the game, through thick and thin, it sounds almost too simple.
Save money. Just save money.
Huh. Seems basic, right?
Almost anticlimactic. But Housel stresses you don't even need a super specific goal for why you're saving initially. Just do it.
Build that buffer.
Because savings give you options, flexibility, the ability to weather storms or seize unexpected opportunities.
It's your safety net and your launch pad, all in one.
And he makes the point that building wealth often has less to do with your income level.
And more to do with your savings rate. Keeping your ego low so your savings can be high.
Exactly. It's about the gap between what you earn and what you spend.
What's really striking here, when you pull back, is this recurring theme. Consistency, humility, patience, and just the simple power of not losing money unnecessarily.
Yeah.
So the actionable advice for you seems clear. Save consistently, maybe more than you think you need. Invest it patiently, ideally starting early. And try, really try, to ignore the day-to-day market drama. Focus long-term.
Absolutely. But okay, how do you stick to that long-term focus when everything around us feels like it's constantly changing, unpredictable?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Dealing with uncertainty.
Which leads us to the next set of insights, really about navigating this unpredictable world. First up, surprise.
Expect the unexpected.
Pretty much. The world is always changing. History doesn't repeat exactly. What worked brilliantly in the past might completely fail tomorrow.
So rigid, fixed plans are dangerous.
Very dangerous. You need flexibility, adaptability. You have to build your financial life, assuming surprises will happen, because they will.
And how do you prepare for those inevitable surprises? You build in room for error.
Your margin of safety.
Yes.
In investing, it means not putting all your eggs in one basket, not leveraging yourself to the hilt.
And in your everyday finances.
It means living below your means, creating that cushion, that buffer between your income and expenses, so that if something bad happens, job loss, medical emergency, whatever, it doesn't derail you completely.
It's not about pessimism, is it? It's just realistic prudence.
Exactly. Planning for reality. And it's not just the external world that's unpredictable.
Right. This is key. You'll change. The person you are today, your goals, your desires, what you value, that's not fixed.
You evolve over time. Your priorities shift.
So making super rigid, locked-in financial plans for like 30 years down the road based on who you are right now, that's probably not wise.
Because your future self might want something totally different.
Build flexibility into your long-term plans. Allow room for you to change your mind, to adapt as your life evolves.
That's such a profound point for financial planning. It needs to be a living process, adaptable to you.
And finally, in this section about navigating uncertainty, a dose of hard truth. Nothing's free.
Ah, yeah. Tansta there ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
Basically. Even achieving great investment returns comes at a price. That price isn't always obvious. It's not a fee you pay up front.
What is it then?
It's volatility. It's enduring market downturns without panicking. It's stress. It's uncertainty. It's the sheer patience required to wait for compounding to work.
That's the fee for admission to long-term gains.
Exactly. You have to be willing to pay that psychological price. It's not free, but Housel argues it's worth it if you want the long-term rewards.
So this really raises that core question for you again. How do you build a financial life that's robust enough to handle both external shocks and your own internal evolution?
It seems to come down to preparing for a range of outcomes, not just the one you hope for.
Building in that margin of safety, embracing flexibility, and accepting that there's a cost to success, usually in the form of emotional endurance.
Right. Okay, let's shift slightly to mindset, some common pitfalls, and then wrap up with the core behaviors. It's really important, Housel says, to know your own game. That's the you and me insight,
Neat.
meaning everyone's playing a different financial game. Think about a day trader versus someone saving for retirement in 40 years.
Totally different goals, different time horizons, different risk tolerances.
Completely different. So taking advice meant for the day trader when you're the long-term investor, that could be disastrous.
You have to filter advice through your own context. What game are you playing?
Exactly. Know your own strategy, your own time frame, your own goals. Don't just blindly follow what someone else is doing or recommending.
That's critical in today's world, just flooded with financial noise and hot tips.
So true. And speaking of noise, it's easy to fall for the seduction of pessimism.
Yeah, the allure of bad news.
It grabs our attention, doesn't it? Bad news, warnings, predictions of doom. They often sound smarter, more sophisticated than optimism.
Yeah, optimism can sound naive sometimes.
But Housel points out, if you look at history, long-term optimism has generally been the winning bet. Progress happens. It's often slow, maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
But the overall trend is usually upward. Innovation happens, economies grow, things tend to get better over long stretches.
So while acknowledging risks is crucial, letting pessimism paralyze you or dominate your outlook can be a huge mistake financially. Stay hopeful even when headlines are grim.
It's about recognizing that the narrative we often hear isn't the full story, which ties into another trap. When you'll believe anything.
Yes. Our brains crave explanations, right? We want stories to make sense of the world, especially complex things like finance.
We fill in the gaps.
And sometimes we latch onto narratives that sound really compelling or comforting, even if there's not much hard evidence behind them.
Especially in investing, where there's so much randomness and uncertainty. A good story can feel better than admitting, I don't know.
Exactly. So Housel warns us to be wary of narratives that seem too neat, too simple, or too good to be true. Question the stories you tell yourself and the ones others tell you.
What's really fascinating here, again, is how much comes back to thinking for yourself.
Definitely.
Understanding your own psychology, filtering advice, questioning narratives. It's all about tailoring things to your unique situation.
And when Housel puts it all together now at the end, he summarizes those core behaviors we've touched on. Can we recap those?
Yeah, let's list them out.
Okay. Live below your means. That's fundamental.
Save consistently. Build that gap.
Think long-term. Avoid short-term reactions.
Be patient. Let compounding work.
Avoid unnecessary risks, especially the risk of ruin.
Accept uncertainty. Be adaptable, flexible.
And stay humble. Recognize the role of luck and the limits of your own knowledge.
That's a pretty solid list of behaviors.
It really is. And to show he practices what he preaches, Housel includes his own confessions.
Yeah. His personal approach?
He admits he's pretty conservative financially, values his independence and peace of mind above maximizing every possible dollar.
So more reasonable than purely rational, perhaps.
Exactly. He invests primarily in simple, low-cost index funds, basically just owning the whole market.
No fancy stock picking.
Nope. And he prioritizes a high savings rate above all else. It's a real-world example of living these principles, not just theory.
It makes it very relatable.
So, okay, bringing this all home, what does this really mean for you listening right now?
The big takeaway.
If we had to boil down this whole book, this whole philosophy into one sentence, maybe it's this. Financial success is not about being smarter than others.
It's about being more disciplined, patient, and emotionally intelligent over time.
That really captures it, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It underscores that profound power of just mastering your own behavior, your own psychology when it comes to money. It's less about what's in your head and more about how you act.
Exactly. So maybe a final thought for you to chew on as we wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
Given that your behavior is likely the biggest lever you have in your financial life, maybe more than your IQ or your salary, what's one small, consistent behavioral change you could actually commit to starting today?
Something aligned with these principles we've talked about.
Yeah, something that starts building your own definition of financial freedom based on your psychology. Maybe just think about that one thing.
A small step taken consistently.
Exactly. Keep learning, keep reflecting, keep adapting. It's a journey. This has been The Deep Dive.